Hello, and thank you for joining the Voice of the Local Business. Today, it's my pleasure to have with us Ms. Sara Branch with us with Network. Go ahead. Introduce
In
it.
action.
Network in Action.
Network in
Action,
That's
which
right.
is
That's right.
I'm not going to say what it is. I want you to say what it is.
Oh,
And
okay.
tell your customers what is Network in Action. So go ahead and introduce yourself. Before you do that, before you tell us about Network in Action, tell us where you're from. Tell us where you grew up, that sort of thing.
Okay. Well, my name is Sara without an H, Branch, like a branch on a tree. And I actually grew up in the city of Atlanta. Can you believe that? In the city limits. I guess a lot of people know where Phipps Plaza, Lenox Square are. That was my neighborhood. But when I was really small, neither of those malls were there.
Wow.
Yeah. Phipps Plaza was built, I think, when I was in high school. So anyway, went to the University of Georgia, go Dogs,
Go Dogs.
and did corporate work for a number of years. So it was I finished a corporate career before I started Network in Action.
Great. Well, let's get to it. What is Network in Action? And there's a specific reason why I invited you, because I believe all young entrepreneurs and any entrepreneurs of any stage should be part of a networking group. Don't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Don't you?
Multiple networking
Yes,
groups.
multiple networking groups, right?
Yeah, so Network in Action actually is a franchise. And my husband and I bought the franchise because he already had a business coaching franchise, and we figured they would be complementary. And so far, it's worked quite well. So Network in Action helps business people be connected to other business people to, first of all, learn how to be better connectors, pass referrals, and get some business coaching. Since my husband is a business coach, he does a little business coaching. And if you're a member of my Network in Action business group, you get personal networking coaching from me. And why that's a big deal is I just wrote a course in networking. I had done some research and found out that you could get sales training any day of the week, but there really isn't such a thing as networking training. So I wrote a course.
Wow, that's incredible. Tell me, why did you buy a franchise? What was so appealing to you to buy a franchise? And tell us what was important to you. Tell us how that came to be.
Yeah. As in most franchises, you buy the franchise because they have an established system of how to get people into your business, how to keep people in your business. So that was quite an attraction because they already had that process established. Also, I was really, really excited about getting business people together to help each other. So many business people are so busy, which I learned from my husband and his business coaching business, that they don't take the time to get out and network. And what I coach people to do is to go to as many networking events, belong to lots of networking groups as your time will allow. Because the better you are known in the marketplace, people are going to remember you, and they'll remember to do business with you.
That's right. You know, to me, I've been in business 36 years now, and one of the key things that I learned early on is that people do business with people they know and like.
Mm-hmm. And trust.
Right? And you could probably keep that adjective list going.
Yeah, right.
But you know, it really is all about relationships, isn't it? People that you know, people that you feel comfortable with, and that their track record is proven to, successful people help what? Other people become
right.
successful, right?
You're right.
And my next door neighbor is Mark Marrow. He is a motivational speaker. And one of the things that he talks about, he says, show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
Oh,
show me your
great.
friends
Yeah.
and I'll show you your future.
Mm-hmm.
You hang out with bums and you hang out with negative people, it's going to be difficult to succeed.
Yes, it
But
is.
if you hang out with successful people who are striving after the same thing to be successful and help other people, you'll make it. Don't you think that's true?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I do too.
Absolutely.
I do too.
Robert Kiyosaki said, rich people, wealthy people, concentrate on building networks. Other people go find a job. So it's the networks that really makes the difference.
Ooh, that's good.
Isn't that good?
That's really good. That's really good. So I want to ask you a question. What's one lesson that you've learned in doing business for however many years? I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be just this business. You've been in the business world a long time. What's one lesson that you've learned that would be valuable for someone coming behind you? Maybe they want to be an entrepreneur or they want to start a company. What's one thing maybe that you could share with them that you've learned?
Well, the one thing that I've learned over time, it doesn't matter who the person is, whether they're a member of your family, whether they are a manager in a business, or you just started a business and you're trying to find the people to help you get it put together. If someone becomes angry or disturbed with you, you got to understand that it's not you. They obviously have something going on in their lives. There's something that is bothering them, and you just happen to be a convenient target. When someone's upset, they probably need kindness more than anybody else. So I start asking questions.
That's good.
I start asking what's going
That's
on.
really good.
But it's just, don't take stuff like that personally.
Don't take it personally, yeah. Too many opportunities are lost over anger.
Well said.
Too many opportunities
Well
are
said.
lost because of anger.
Absolutely.
And sometimes the anger, like you said, really doesn't have much to do with what you did or didn't do. It's just you are the object. And, I've had that. I've lost some opportunities because I reciprocated with anger.
Oh.
I have.
Uh-huh.
I'm just being honest. This is an honest podcast. We talk about things like that.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: what's most important to you personally, and how has being an entrepreneur helped you accomplish that? What's most important to you, and how has being an entrepreneur helped you accomplish that?
All right.
Yeah.
So before I started my business, I used to joke with people. Some people like to some people like to collect
Collect. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
little decorative things, little tchotchkes. I have a friend who collects salt and pepper shakers from her travels around the world. You go into her kitchen and they're all over the place. Well, I don't collect stuff. I collect relationships. And this particular business I started, this particular franchise, really, really fits in with my collection instincts, which is to collect friends and then connect people to each other who need each other. That's
really good.
That's been my goal all along.
Really good. That feels good too when you successfully make two people come together. It's wonderful.
I connected somebody at every meeting I went to today, and I just feel so good.
It does. It feels good to help people, and it really does. It feels really good to be. That's partially why I'm doing the podcast. Is I want people to be able to utilize my tools that we have here at Summer Street Productions to do just that, to communicate to their customers and help people. It's about helping people, right?
It is.
Yeah.
I was going to say that each meeting I went into today, the first one had about 100 people in it. The second one only had about 30, and the third one had 60 plus. And I just looked across the room and I thought, if every single person in this room was personally connected to everybody else in the room, we could just do some major changes in our community.
Wow. Boy, what a big thought that. What a powerful thought that is.
Oh,
That's
thank
so
you.
true. That's
Yeah.
good. That's good. Let me ask you this: what was the biggest obstacle that you faced in your early stages of being an entrepreneur, of your company or companies that you started, and how did you overcome it? Because a lot of entrepreneurs and people that are thinking about starting a company, there's a lot of obstacles, and a lot of them are fearful of trying. How did you overcome your fear to step out there and go? What was it that gave you the push?
Oh, wow. Well, I've always been a risk taker, so starting a business was not, it was easy for me. I just, good, I'm going to leave corporate and I'm going to start a business.
That's right. Yeah.
But the first thing was, I was a little surprised at how much cash it took. And it started taking longer and longer. And thank you, God, for my husband, because he kept saying, every entrepreneur finds out it takes more money and more time than they originally thought.
That's right, it does.
So I just keep telling myself it has taken more money and more time than I originally thought. And that lets me know every day I'm getting one step closer to not having to say that anymore.
Yeah, right. Let me ask you this, in light of that, what you just said, can you share with us a specific instance where taking a calculated risk paid off for your business?
Yes. When I first started my business, it was just network in action, me connecting business people. But as time went on, I started to realize people needed something more than just being in a room with other people and making themselves talk to other people. So I started writing a course. My background is instructional design. That's what I did before I left corporate. And I thought networking really needs to be taught. I went and Googled sales training and just got endless results on sales training. I Googled networking training to see if there was something already on the market, and there wasn't. There is zero networking training.
Wow.
So I took the risk. I've written a course. I'm recording videos for each module, and that should be completed within the next couple of weeks. And
Wonderful.
I'm ready to show it to the marketplace.
That's really great. That's really great. So that's going to really pay off big, because if there is a niche, that's something I'd like for us to talk about for a moment.
Okay.
Is niche.
Yeah.
Having a niche. Tell us about what niche, however you say it. Some people say it differently. So is that important when you're trying to discover what kind of business to go into? Is finding and trying to discover a niche and matching that niche with your talents. Is that important, you think, and why?
Oh, absolutely. The worst thing you could do is get out into the marketplace and have no desire to run the business that you're running. That's why a lot of people fail when they take over family businesses, because doesn't suit them emotionally or psychologically, however you want to look at it. So if you're going to start a business, the best thing is to do is think about the people that you like to be around. What kind of businesses are they in? Does that match with what you think is a good way to approach the market? So you want to serve the people that you want to be around, that you like being around, and that'll help you identify what I call the ideal customer, the ideal market. And so you build a business to serve those people. However, the reverse is sometimes true, and that is you buy business, for example, a franchise that provides a product for the market. And then you've got to identify the ideal customer and then go to the places where that ideal customer is, and you'll learn to figure out how to serve that market. So it works on both sides of the coin.
That's great. Fantastic. A few more questions before we close out. Motivation. Let's talk about how do you stay motivated to stay in the game when things get tough? You know, there are so many businesses that start, and within, probably a couple of years they go out of business because of a lot of reasons, but motivation is probably a big one. So what are some things in your opinion that kills motivation? And how do you overcome those things and stay in the business and succeed? Motivation.
So, yeah, motivation. Have you heard of the phrase, or you recall the phrase, beating a dead horse?
Yes.
Okay.
I think I've done that a few times. I think I've more than a few times.
Well, I jokingly tell people that I come from a long line of dead horse beaters.
Yeah.
Because I just keep plugging away until I have exhausted every possible thought in my head, emotion in my heart. I'm not going to give up. And I'll just keep going and keep plugging. And that's another thing entrepreneurs need to know, and that is you've got to be prepared for a slow progress, maybe even a bit of a slog through learning how to run your business. But if you get up every morning and say, I'm going to do one thing today to change my business, or as one of my millionaire friends says, you get up and in the morning you identify the one thing you can do that day to make the cash register ring and focus on that. And then maybe you'll have a problem the following day, you solve the problem. But focus on making the cash register ring.
Well, that's really good. That's really good. It's good advice. This is great advice. I should have had you on a long time ago. In closing here, we've got a few more questions. This is important. I think a lot of marriages struggle with this one, the question that I'm fixing to give you. How do you manage to maintain a healthy work-life balance as an entrepreneur? Because entrepreneurs, they'll work till midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning if they need to. And that will destroy a marriage or destroy relationships with your kids or your whatever. So how do you maintain that? How do you personally maintain that?
Well, Good question, because my husband owns his own business too.
Yeah, right.
But the way that I manage it and the way that I teach people to manage it, and I'm encouraging my husband to manage it, is you set an alarm in your smartphone that tells you when the day is over. And you either make a date with yourself, or you make a date with your spouse or your children, but go do something else than what you're doing.
Right.
If we're so focused on our business, oftentimes we're sedentary, and that's not good for us. People who are in service businesses are luckier than those of us who are in businesses that require you to think more than do something, because service businesses get out. But I have a date with myself every morning and my dog, and we get out and get exercise. I exercise every single morning walking the dog.
It's very good.
And then at some point during the day, every day on my calendar has an end point, and I have to honor that end point. And I do it. I will sometimes work for a few hours on Saturday, maybe Sunday after church, not a lot. But that's it. There's got to be a stopping point.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. That's really good advice. Last question, and we'll close out with this one. What are some exciting trends that you're seeing in your industry? Is there anything happening in the networking industry right now that's interesting to you that you'd like to share? Any last final words you'd like to say to your customers? Some trends that are occurring, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Anything going on?
Well, in the networking industry, you've got to understand that it's I guess a relatively new industry. It hadn't been around 50 years yet. It was started in the late 80s by a great guy named Ivan Meisner. He created Business Networking International and put together a model for business networking groups. And that's been the way people have been doing networking since the late 80s. Thankfully enough, we're in the age of technology, of AI, you name it. There's everything under the sun to help us do things other than have to go to a meeting and have to talk about our business every week. So the trend is for what used to be weekly networking meetings to become bi-weekly or monthly. What used to be passing physical leads during meetings to be done via technology. To have AI assist for descriptions of yourself, the things that you're using to post on social media. My company has a platform where we post things, and we can use artificial intelligence to come up with those things. So the most exciting thing for me is to see technology do many, many, many things that used to happen in very rigid networking meetings. So now we can have a little fun, we can kind of have our meetings a little looser. I flow with the way that the things that need to be done in my meeting. If a member says they need something right then, we attend to it. So being more flexible in networking and using technology to support it is very exciting to me.
Outstanding. Well, there you go. Well, sure, it was good to have you today.
Well, thank you,
Sara.
Tim.
It was very good to have you. And we want to say thank you to our sponsor, which is Summer Street Productions. Obviously, that's where we're at today. We're a sponsor of this podcast, as well as Metro Wheels and Accessories, which is located down in Marietta. It's 1093 South Cobb Drive in Marietta, Georgia. And after the podcast, there will be a short video that we hope you'll watch in regards to them. And thank them for keeping this podcast going. And thank you for watching The Voice of the Local Business.